This is Monocle on Design, a show where we discuss everything from architecture and craft to furniture and fashion. I'm Nick Manise. On today's program, it's a festive special. We discuss the art of gift wrapping. Designer Nika Zupanc discusses her collaboration with Alessi that incorporates Christmas iconography, and we reflect on the joys of gift giving at a design-minded market in London. All that coming up on Monocle on Design. Hello and welcome to today's show. I am joined by Monocle's Associate Editor, Grace Charlton. Grace, where are we? Paint the picture.
We're at the Midori House Christmas Market in London. It's 2 days after the Christmas party and I still don't really have my voice back. You might be able to tell, but the Christmas feeling is in the air. I've just done 2 hours on the tombola as well. The reindeers have trotted away. It's 4 p.m.
Santa Claus, to be fair, has the reindeer might have been a little bit tuckered out, but Santa Claus all the way from Finland is here, still saying hello to people. This is, I guess, an annual tradition that we've been doing for the better part of a decade, where we open up Midori House, where our radio studios, we're typically recording from, are set up. It's where the Monocle offices are, but we kind of like to bring the community in. There's a whole heap of different shops from the area as well that have kind of set up little stalls, and we're in, I guess, a hut. Yeah, a hut. We're in a timber hut.
Call it a cabin, it sounds much cozier.
Thank you, Maylee Evans, our producer, who's just weighed in with some actual direction. I've had a few mulled wines, but we're in a cozy little cabin recording today's show, and I guess, we're trying to set the atmosphere for, I guess, our Christmas special, which we're about to hear. But maybe a way to kind of kick it all off is, Grace Charlton, we're going to talk a little bit about ornaments in a moment, but when you think of Christmas and design, what are we bringing together?
I think it's when I want to go traditional. I want to have loads of candles, some old school ornaments, some velvet red ribbons. I think just keep it a little bit retro, a little bit 90s, a little bit Ralph Lauren. I'm
liking it. I was going to go Laura Ashley for some reason, but maybe that's a little bit, maybe I miss my mum. Okay, I'm going back to Australia soon. Maybe that's where that's coming in, because that's what it's making me think of. But I think it is. I think you're right. Materiality, texture. I mean, I'm thinking kind of some velvet. I saw someone with velvet pants on earlier and I was like, yes, I'm velvet trousers rather for our British listeners. I am ready for Christmas. But I think you've kind of hit something there in terms of candles and light and atmosphere. And we were talking a little bit about this before, but I think for me, Christmas lights never made sense when I was living in Australia. Like it feels bizarre because obviously
you can just see the cables.
Yeah, exactly, truly, because it's light until 9 p.m. and it's kind of not really making sense. But then you come here to the Northern Hemisphere, it's dark at 4 p.m. in London. All of a sudden, Christmas lights kind of become essential.
Need it. No, honestly, you need it to get through the winter. I always find it really hard in January when you come back and it just all goes away and it's pure darkness.
Truly, it becomes brutal. Okay, so I think we're maybe making a case here to push Christmas to February or something like that.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
But let's optimise this.
Exactly, drag out the season. But I think that's it, and I think it kind of maybe lends itself to talking. We're going to do a little bit of a segue here, just talking about general good Christmas winter lighting. I mean, do you have any, are there any essential kind of checklists? Are we talking lamps, a pool, a soup of kind of light in rooms? What do you think?
A soup of light. You know we love that. I think it has to be warm LED lights on a Christmas tree. I will not stand for bright white LED lights.
No, absolutely.
It's just not on. And then it is just, heaps and heaps and heaps of candles and scented in really rich aromas. I've got one at home that's leather and tobacco and it's just a little bit opulent.
That actually sounds delicious. And I will say that as well. This is a chance to, I'm doing everything I can here to bring in sort of the design industry, but I think this is actually kind of a nice little segue. I feel like a lot of brands, I'm thinking Frama, I'm thinking and Tradition actually, and maybe this is where we're going. These Nordic brands, they are so good at lighting,
good.
But they're also so good at making things like candles, little objects for the home that you can.
Well, because I think we've got matching ones. We've got hay candles, which are counting down to Christmas. But I'm starting to get performance anxiety about my advent calendar candle because I'm not burning through it fast enough.
Oh, you've got to be going almost 24/7.
These candles burn. They're too effective. They burn too slowly.
Did you leave yours on the other day deliberately just so that you could get through a few more hours?
I lit it at breakfast, and then I left, and I wasn't sure if I'd kept it on. So my long-suffering boyfriend had to cycle at lunchtime and check that it had in fact been blown out, which it had.
But if it hadn't, you maybe would have been up to date with your calendar, with your advent calendar. There is something to be said about these brands making small objects that you can take home. Grace and I both helped edit our annual Monocle seasonal paper Alpino, which has a dedicated section on design as always. But there's an amazing story in there looking at we were just talking about Danish design brands, but also looking at Italian design brands, specifically Alessi, make great chairs, make great objects, all sorts of things that you want to furnish your home in. But every year they do a series of Christmas ornaments. I commissioned Guy Delaunay, our Ljubljana-based correspondent, to go and report on this Slovenian designer, Nika Zupanc, who has worked with Alessi this year to create amazing blown glass Christmas ornaments. And that ranges from Christmas cups and cookie jars to your standard, bold, beautiful baubles. Let's hear that package now.
They certainly know how to do the festive season here in Slovenia's capital, Ljubljana. You can hear the music washing in from all around, accordion, the sounds of the Christmas market stalls and bars, and a Roma brass band making its way over the cobbles in my direction. The centrepiece of it all is an absolutely gigantic Christmas tree that towers as high almost as the church next to it on Prešeren Square. But magnificent as this particular Christmas tree might be, I don't think it's got any of the best Christmas decorations of the season on its branches. Those would be the baubles and other goodies that Nika Zupanc has put together for Alessi.
They invited me, they proposed to do a Christmas collection. They called me in the middle of the summer, so it was quite a challenge to think about Christmas in hot June. But I really like the challenge because it's not an easy thing. Because we are, especially around Christmas, we are so, let's say, bombed with all sorts of decorations. Everything has a very strong meaning. There are a lot of symbolical colors, materials, whatever. And then, of course, as with any company that I work with, I really wanted to understand the DNA of Alessi. Because I believe the best products are born when the DNA of the designer and the DNA of the company are mixed together. And in order to do so, especially in a little bit of unexpected way, because I think this was also crucial, as it is with most of the Alessi products throughout the years, they have this unexpected, let's say, flair about them. This was like the starting point.
So as we're looking at this, as I've mentioned, these baubles, they're made of glass, so we all have got to be a little bit careful with them. But have you thought of these in practical terms? You're thinking about people actually hanging them on their Christmas trees.
That's the sole purpose of them, to be hanged on a Christmas tree. And the technology that we are using, it's very, let's say, basic, normal, expected technology. So here, in sense of the decoration, the stripes, the dots, and everything, we kind of pushed the limits of this laser cutting technology and how it can be applied on a spherical object. So I was playing with motifs and symbols that we all know, but we wanted to apply them in a different manner, playing with the scale, playing with the form. I was also trying to be rich and very minimal at the same time, which is a challenge.
It's a good trick if you can pull it off. I think you have pulled it off. You've kept, in particular, the colour palette. You have kept quite simple. There's red, there's white, and there's gold.
Yes. This was one of, for sure, the decisions that we took. So to keep this very simple color palette, but then to play with the positions.
If we're moving over to the containers that we've got here, these beautiful porcelain containers, Nika, these are designed for your biscuits and your bonbons for people to enjoy at Christmas time. So what were you thinking when you were designing these? And these do, again, they have a different look to the... So
the idea, a little bit, I was inspired by this trend from the 60s, of which I learned over in the internet, of ceramic Christmas trees. This was something that was very, very, very popular in sense of the form. So I actually wanted to go from there to design an object which would resemble a Christmas tree, but in a very contemporary way. And from there I just took on with the patterns, with the colors, with the materials. And I think we got these two containers that, you know, have a little bit of unexpected appearance. You couldn't tell the time of when they were designed, which was also one of the goals. It's also something that I always search for, to try to do this timeless design to which you cannot pinpoint the timeline.
I can see exactly what you mean there, because if I look at this bonbon jar in front of me, which has got a little golden minaret, if you like, on the top of it, and then this diamond-esque pattern in red and gold on this predominantly white background. This could be offering mysterious treats from the East, if we're going back centuries even.
I agree. I mean, this was the goal, to open the imagination, let's say, or to open the path to different interpretations as well.
You spoke about your original connection with Alessi and the original commissions that you had. What's it mean for you to be working with that company and producing such a collection for them?
I have to say it's a big honor and also a wonderful learning curve. And this is something that I really love about my job, because I have to say that every company, it's a world on its own, and always it is a wonderful learning curve. And it's never just about the projects, it's also always about the history and the people who made those companies. And being able, you know, to spend so much time with these wonderful people, it's really wonderful.
So now you know where to come to give your festive season a little bit of extra sparkle. And remember, this is one cookie jar that it's fine to get your hand caught in. For Monocle, in Ljubljana, I'm Guy Delaunay.
This Christmas, give the gift of a sharper worldview. A Monocle subscription delivers insight, inspiration, and ideas from all over the world. We bring you closer to global innovation and the cutting edge of culture. We introduce you to the people, places, and forces that are shaping today and tomorrow. Be part of a smart global community. Subscribe today at monocle.com/subscribe.
We're back at the Midori House Christmas Market. And Maile, how is your gift wrapping to start, Maile?
It's shocking, but what I would like to say is I make use of old magazines, you know, interesting editorial features, not monocles to be clear.
Obviously, collector's
but
item.
I think I really love the idea of repurposing really exciting and glossy sort of magazines and giving them a little bit more of a lease of life. And it is just a bit more unusual, and people know exactly when they've received a gift from me, because it just will sort of strike them or be a little bit more
it's more sustainable as well. Did you know that like wrapping paper can't be recycled apparently because it's got like plastic on it?
100% for sure, that's true. You need to actually, this is for our listeners, this is maybe a little bit of a PSA, but if you do want to recycle your wrapping paper, you have to take off all of the sticky tape. So you can still recycle it, but the sticky tape's going to be off. Yeah, you've got to be really, really meticulous about it. And you know, that's a theme that's run through this show. It's about how we can like make things better. We talk so much about circularity. We talk about materials that are perhaps pure. So maybe there's an opportunity for a pure way of wrapping, Maile. Is that possibly the case here?
I think so. So I did a recent interview with Tomoko Kakita. She's a founder of Mark Space Design and launched a whole range of furoshiki, which is a way to wrap gifts. It's sort of looking at an old technique. It used to be quite popular in Japan, perhaps has maybe been forgotten, but it's definitely being embraced internationally in other parts of the world, and looking to Japan and going, actually, there's something in this. It's a piece of fabric. It's usually a little bit longer on one side than the other, so not a perfect square. But the idea is that the actual process of wrapping is just as important as the gift. The way you present that gift is just as integral to the whole process. And
it's using cloth, so we're not getting the beautiful home and garden. I mean, Grace, what's your wrapping paper of choice?
I usually use old FT weekends that I've got lying around with it, and with a nice ribbon as well.
I think that's the way to do it. I use the home and garden section. I think it's lovely to bring a bit of warmth into the home. Maile, what sort of cloth are we working with, and what are we going to hear from next?
So we're going to hear from Tomoko. She's kind of going to lay out some of the history when it comes to furoshiki and the principles behind it, why she got interested in producing her own collection, and I guess why she hopes that more people will sort of get excited about this idea of repurposing a piece of fabric. We'll hear from Tomoko now.
I've been living in London over 20 years now and witnessing people's way of gifting just because it's Christmas, you must buy something which might not be useful. And I felt like revisiting how we consume and how we gift. And I thought maybe furoshiki is a great tool for introducing the way of thinking. In Japan, we have a word, onkochishin, which is learning from the old, inventing something new. This is an old traditional method. We could bring this into the new form. Linen cloth was used for wrapping treasures in temples when it started used as a furoshiki. But furoshiki was originally called tsutsumi. The ancient kanji of tsutsumi replicates the form of a pregnant woman. The form of pregnant woman enfolds what is most precious, which is baby. And the idea of wrapping something precious extends to the act of enfolding an object in a square piece of cloth. It was used to wrap noble family and feudal lords' clothing. During Muromachi period, Ashikaga shogun Yoshimitsu invited lords to his steam bathhouse. There, the bathers would wrap their clothes with furoshiki with their family crest marked on it to prevent becoming confused with other people's belongings. Also, they changed their clothes while standing on furoshiki. Furo means bath and shiki means spread. So furoshiki's literal meaning is bath spread. We think the Muromachi period, this name was originated. However, it was still called tsutsumi during Muromachi period. And then when you get to Edo period, next period, furoshiki became furoshiki, as we know. So it was because the commercial trade started to flourish and people becoming wealthier, and furoshiki was widespread, and it became a necessity for people's life.
It's used as gift wrapping now. Why is how you wrap a gift just as important as maybe the gift itself?
In Japan, furoshiki, it was used to protect the gift from the dust and dirt. So in Japan, you never give the furoshiki with the gift. You will always unwrap furoshiki and give the internal contents to the person, and then you take the furoshiki home. Furoshiki is with you all the time, and some of the furoshiki, the silk furoshiki in Japan, are very exclusive. It will cost £200 to £300, and those will be well kept at home, and it will be passed on to generation. Those are used for special occasion when you visit someone respectful. You wrap the gift and then you present the gift in a way. This is not only about gifting, it's all about relationships and how you think about other person, how you think about what they feel, and also contents, and it's all about caring other person. Culture has shifted to a more convenient, fast-paced and sadly disposable way. All the department store and shops scale has changed, and now whenever I go back home as well, Japanese people are obsessed with wrapping. You'll buy some gift to someone, they will give you a bag to carry, and then they will give you another bag for when you go to the person, the house, you want a very new, brand new paper bag. So there's an over packaging issue in Japan. Unfortunately, not many people are sustainable mind yet in a small everyday level, because that became everyday habit for consumers. The great thing is Japan is good at detecting what's happening all over the world. So they see the furoshiki is coming back. Now, I have opportunity to work with a Japanese design company to produce some furoshiki promotional images, which is great news because at the moment this is not a trendy, fashionable object to use, but then when people started using different part of the world, then we can bring back that to our own country to revitalize our ancient tradition.
That was Tomoko Kakita there, and her book Furoshiki and the Japanese Art of Gift Wrapping is published by Lawrence King and available at all good bookstores now.
So, and we've obviously talked a little bit about the wrapping now, but I want to talk about the actual gifts themselves. Grace Charlton's Secret Santa this year, what did you get?
I got some really lovely Thai goodies from our Bangkok-based bureau chief, James Chambers. Really cute, some like tiny little inhaler, a little lip balm, just little like nice little tidbits. I think he blew the budget, if I'm being honest.
But I think that's what we should be doing at Christmas. I mean, if you find something good for the right person, I think just go for it.
Exactly. And then for my Secret Santa, I had Amy Vanderberg, and she was lucky enough to receive a set of chopsticks.
What an absolute treat for an assistant books editor.
With little lucky cats on them. And I didn't realise this, but she didn't even own a set of chopsticks. And may I say, I also blew the budget.
I mean, I think, but again, I think this is what it comes down to.
How about you, Nick? What did you receive?
I received from Sophie Monaghan-Coombs, our associate editor who looks after culture. She was kind enough to purchase me a zine on Icelandic brutalism. So maybe we're going to hear a little bit about Icelandic brutalism on Monocle on Design in the coming months, because I've certainly got some inspiration. And then Claudia Jacobs on our books team as well. I gave her these little kind of incense pyramids, but they burn within 10 minutes. But the whole idea is so much of the Monocle team are on the road. I think sometimes...
And they smell bad.
It's got nothing to do with them personally. It's got to do with maybe the hotel room that they're staying in. It's nice to bring a little bit of atmosphere to that space. So that's what I was hoping for there. And then some homemade maple nuts, which I think is just nice for the season. That's what we're going for. Mei Lee.
Oh, I received some lovely woody essential oil, so very much on that incense burning, something simple you can take with you, make a new space feel like home, so very much on that wavelength.
The reason we're talking about this now is because obviously we're at the Monocle Market where you can buy Christmas presents, but we're going to throw to another design market in London where designer and creative director Shiro Muchiri, who's founded her namesake gallery, has, I guess, set up shop.
Yeah, we've had her on the show a couple of times because she does amazing work featuring international artisans, sort of in that gallery exhibition setting. But this time, I think it's the first year they've had a Christmas market, so it's actually getting, I guess, the public to think carefully about why they're purchasing things. What can we give someone that's going to actually be an addition, a welcome addition to the home, rather than a bit of
like a set of chopsticks.
Maybe it's just inspiration for Amy Vandenberg to buy some more chopsticks and build a complete set. So let's join Monocle's Lucrezia Motta now, who went down to Soshiro to, I guess, check it all out.
During Christmas, I've always wondered what to gift those who've been supporting you all year. And I did that with experiences, but I felt that as I learned about people and our community that we've built here, I knew they could benefit from an alternative of buying something really thoughtful to people who've been really impactful in their life. I think it's a sense of, it's almost like they want to transmit a feeling through gifting, and therefore it's not just a task to do and fulfill and tick off a Christmas list or gift list. My name is Shiro Muchiri, and I am the creative director of Soshiro, which is based in Marylebone, London. I felt it was an offering that would complement everything else that sits around Bond Street, Mayfair, Marylebone. I felt this would be welcome in that mix. And the other inspiration came from the very many makers who were prepared to make a gifting edit of their work. Some of them very established, they work on big projects, big commissions, but they were happy to create an edit that would showcase their work, maybe showcase what they would like to experiment when they don't have a very restrictive brief. So the energy from the makers was also a driver to this. and I felt, it would be great to celebrate Christmas and the whole culture of sharing. The departing point was, how do I create a great experience journey for whoever walks in? And I thought about first putting things in different places, each artist in different positions around the house. But then in the end, I felt putting them together will just showcase the variety better for all our visitors. And so that just kind of went organically as I tried to see how they work together, because there's a lot of freedom in the creative. So there wasn't any kind of strict brief in the items.
Visitors to the gallery are invited to walk around the space to discover a wide range of objects and creatives, from pottery to textiles.
We've got some amazing ceramics. This is Caroline Tripp, who tells stories through her pieces. So you can see these pieces have got kind of poetry and imagery all kind of pasted onto them. And then she finishes them up with hand painting and touches. When you pick up a piece, you kind of wonder what made you think of that. This one says, "and you." And if you look you can keep examining them and learning something new all the time. And I just think they're just really, really beautiful. The color of red and the sizes, and they're actually usable. They're glazed on the inside, so you can have multiple uses. Goran, he does textiles, and the textiles are of this table. The patterns are like table runners. Some of the blankets which are upstairs, they are it's all very colorful, different shapes, and they have a really lovely drop. And again, can be added to any kind of existing table. This is Safa's studio from Kuwait, and she works with a whole community of casting. This is from different workshops within her community, and they can see all different materials from aluminium to bronze to copper. And this one has a lovely sound to it. It's quite musical. You can shake it. But again, it's just celebrating techniques that are existing within her community and creating objects for us to appreciate them here.
Thanks to her curation and taste, the Soshiro Christmas market shows a good present is about thoughtfulness, something we can definitely implement in our approach to gifting year-round. From Monocle in London, I'm Lucrezia Motta.
My thanks to Lucrezia Motta there. Grace Charlton, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Nick Muniz.
An absolute pleasure for an amazing year. Let's all go maybe celebrate with a little bit of Christmas cheer. But that's all for today's show. For more design stories, tune in to the Monocle on Design archive, where you'll be able to hear all our shows from the past year. And if you enjoy print, then do pick up a copy of Monocle magazine as well, and the Alpino, which is on newsstands and certainly appropriate for the Northern Hemisphere Christmas period. Today's episode was produced and edited by Maylee Evans. I'm Nick Muniz. You can reach me at nm@monocle.com. Thanks for listening, and Merry Christmas.